I'm going to do something a little different today. No teaser, no regular intro. Just going to do a brief explanation of a very special episode of Professor of Rock. Now, do you remember back in the 80s, they invented that term, very special episode. It was kind of an advertising term that was used in promos that referred to an episode of a sitcom or a drama series, which deals with a difficult or controversial issue. These episodes usually had a brief message from the cast or like a title card that said viewer discretion advised.
We urge families, children, and parents to watch the special episode together because some of the material presented might be disturbing to younger children.
Just to let viewers know that the normally lighthearted show would have something, potentially graphic or, something that could be very personal or maybe unsettling to some. Different Strokes had a few episodes like that. There was the one where Arnold and Kimberly hitchhike and they're like kidnapped or picked up by a bad guy. And
sure, hop in. Good.
Arnold escapes and leads the police to arrest the man.
I hope that guy doesn't do anything to Kimberly, because if he does, he's going to be picking teeth out of his kneecaps.
Right before he's about to do something bad. There was also the one in WKRP in Cincinnati, where the staff at the station reacted to the real-life incident of that fatal trampling that took place at the Who concert.
People are gathering over at Fountain Square with candlelight in remembrance of friends.
But my favorite very special episode was the one from Family Ties. I believe it was called My Name is Alex. Won a bunch of awards. I remember it won an Emmy. It's the episode where Alex Keaton, who's of course played by Michael J. Fox, grieves the death of his childhood friend Greg.
My parents heard me talking to you earlier, and they think I'm seeing ghosts.
Now, to refresh your memory if you haven't seen it, Alex Keaton's friend Greg is killed in a car crash while running an errand that Alex was actually supposed to help with. And after Greg's funeral, Alex is really struggling. He tells his sister Mallory that his life was saved by smallness, out of a lack of generosity to his friend, admitting that he felt that he should have been in the car, and really questions why he's still alive.
No, I should have been with Greg. I should have been sitting right next to him. Why am I alive?
So then, Stephen and Elise's parents have him start seeing a therapist who helps him confront these emotions.
I just want to feel the way I felt when I was a little boy.
I remember it like flashes back to his childhood and kind of reassesses his life and starts to cope and accept the tragedy and begins to use it as a way to keep his friend's memory alive and that goodness alive. It's a beautiful episode that had a major effect on me when I first saw it.
Don't go. Don't go. Don't. It's not fair.
Anyway, today I want to share a very special episode of Professor of Rock, kind of like they did in the 80s. Man, this one goes pretty deep. I filmed it right after, it was years ago. It was right after my dad passed away. It's pretty raw. There's an idea for a show that I've had for over 10 years, and we even filmed some episodes for it that have never been released. It's an idea that's really near and dear to my heart, and I truly believe it came from a higher power, something I can't really explain, but I've always felt that music saves. Songs save us. That's actually what I was going to call the show, Song Save Us. I've collected stories over the years from regular folks like you and me about how a song has literally changed or even saved their life. Really cool stories about a lot of different things. And many times I've been able to have the viewer share their story and then introduce them to the artist behind the song and have them share that story with the artist personally, directly. These moments have been incredibly healing, very heartfelt. It's magical, actually. We've connected numerous fans and artists like Journey, Kenny Loggins, R.E.O. Speedwagon, Sammy Hagar, so many more. I've been trying to figure out how to best create this series or this concept, and I've jumped through so many hoops and been close to TV deals and streaming deals, but it just never seems to work out. They want to edge it up. Anyway, I'm tired of waiting for this to happen because these stories need to be shared and more of them need to come out. So today, I'm going to share my own story of a song that's really important to me and then put it out to you to share your stories with the hopes that I can connect you to the artist behind that song and have the artist or band share the story behind the song from their perspective, but also have you share how that song impacted you with them. So make sure to click on the link below to a page where you can share your story of how a song saved you. It'll be confidential. And we'll try to connect you with that artist for a future episode. Click here, actually, this link or right down here. I figure if I'm asking you to be vulnerable, I can lead by example and start with my story. So here's a truncated version of that episode we filmed quite a while back. It's really personal and raw, so here goes. Who's your favorite? You always tell me your favorite artist of all time.
Probably Paul McCartney.
Yep.
We got to go to a concert. You took me.
Yep. And that was a cool experience.
That was one of the best experiences of my life.
Music is the great connector, the universal language. I mean, songs are checkpoints of our personal history. They're like a time machine, the closest thing I've ever seen to one. Because whenever we listen to them, they take us back to memories that we yearn to experience over and over again. I mean, when I was growing up, my dad and I were always clashing. But like I said before, the one thing that always brought us together was music. And now I've sat down with his heroes, who have in turn become my heroes. I get to hear the stories behind all those songs that he told me about directly from them. It's amazing. The Professor of Rock team has captured over 500 in-depth interviews. They've got the story of thousands of songs. And I can share those with my kids, and they can share them with their kids, and every generation down the line. I think it's really important because there's so much adversity in this divisive world that we live in. But the thing that always helps us rise above the tough times is music, which is why we've created a movement that we call Songs Save Us, where we'll share all of the stories from these songs in an episodic mini documentary format. That's one part of it. But the other part is sharing your story as a fan and how these songs have impacted your life. After all, I've always considered myself to be a stand-in for you, the fan. So on this episode, I want to share a story of a song and how it inspired me, but we'll feature some of your stories in future episodes. So here's the story of Teach Your Children by Crosby, Stills and Nash. It's a song that my dad introduced to me and explained the story of when I was very young. And as the lyrics convey, it's a song about the relationship between parents and children, and going from parents teaching their children to children teaching their parents. It's a theme that really defined my relationship with my own dad more and more as we grew older. Here's the story from Crosby, Stills and Nash.
There's a part of our job to be the town crier. Music is a great transmitter of ideas. And ideas are the most powerful shit on the planet. They can change anything if you come up with the right one.
You who are on the road.
Here's what happened basically with Teach Your Children. I'd been collecting photographs for about 6 months in 1968. I've never told any gallery owner or exhibition owner how to place my photographs, not my particular personal photographs, but my collection of photographs. Mm-hmm. I never tell them how to hang them, because they know their gallery or their exhibition space much better than me, right? Uh-huh. So I'm very curious as to, when you put a photograph next to a photograph, they talk to each other, and they better have a nice conversation, else they shouldn't be together, right? Right. And I'm curious as to how gallery owners and exhibition people see the work and how they would present it. In this particular case, on one of the first exhibits I had of my collection, somebody had placed a photograph of a boy in Central Park with a hand grenade. It's a famous image by Diane Arbus. Right? It was one of the first images I bought. But they had placed it next to an Arnold Newman portrait of a man called Krupp, the German arms family who provided all the German armaments for both world wars. Right? Mm-hmm. I'd already started playing with Teach Your Children in my last week with the Hollies in Leeds. So I had the basic idea. But seeing these two images together of this kid with a toy hand grenade that would have blown up the world, and this man that actually did blow up the world, I began to realize that if we didn't teach our kids a better way of dealing with our fellow human beings, we were in deep trouble here. And that's when I actually finished Teach Your Children. Crosby's father's favorite song, by the way.
Yeah. Anything about Teach Your Children that you remember?
Nash's most famous song. You know, it's simple, direct. It's a good song.
Teach your children well.
David was moving to San Francisco because he thought that San Francisco was IT. I didn't want to go near the place. I'd been there looking for drummers before everybody was performing in Springfield. And I couldn't find a decent drummer to save my life. So I beat it down to LA. And he was all into the Grateful Dead. And I heard that Jerry was playing pretty good steel. And I just wanted a little flavor, you know, and to set the song off. Because Teach Your Children had started out in one tempo, and I basically countrified it and put it in, you know, Hank Williams swing time. Because it was you who were on the road. It was like that. And first of all, back, come to the guitar. And so all I did was rearrange the tempo and the phrasing for it. I was trying to think of the guy that played with Poco. And before I get that, Dick Crosby blushed, well, Jerry Garcia plays steel guitar. Well, Jerry Garcia plays Jerry Garcia steel guitar. Any Nashville cat will tell you that. I mean, it's really, it's good, but it wasn't what I pictured. But they're all nuts over it, so I just shut up.
When Jerry Garcia put together the, as I understand it, he spliced the pedal steel because he didn't really know how to play it. He spliced pieces of it together.
He tried. Here's what happened. Me and Stephen and Dallas Taylor on tambourine, I think, did the basic acoustic track of Teach Your Children. And then Stephen put the bass on. There were no drums, to speak of. Because we were in San Francisco, we were in one studio. The Grateful Dead were in the other studio, and the Jefferson Airplane were in the other studio, right?
Yeah.
You know, so we were all hanging and we were all friends. And when it came to putting a solo on Teach Your Children, it obviously had this country feel to it. And we'd heard that Jerry had started playing steel. So I said, hey, Jeff, you want to give it a shot?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, I mean, I haven't been playing that long, but I'll give it a shot. So Jerry Garcia played his first take, and it was obviously the right sound for the record. So we came to the end, he did his first take, and I loved it. I said, gee, Jerry, thanks. Wow, one take, that's fantastic. He goes, no, I screwed up there in the middle bit. Can I do it again? I said, of course you can, but I'm not going to use it. He goes, what? I said, you can do another take, but I'm not going to use it. You pinned it to me. It's my song. You pinned it with that first take. That's it for me.
And he traded with you because he wanted you guys to teach them harmonies, how to harmonize. And they used that on the next two records, including American Beauty. I love that.
We just showed him how we did it.
Well, I distinctly remember in 1984 as a kid, I was 7 years old. And I'd heard the song so many times. I was so excited because it was on TV. It was on a Walter Mondale ad. Do you remember when they used that?
I did, and I have that letter. In fact, that letter from Walter Mondale to me requesting that the Democrats use Teach Your Children is now in an exhibit of mine at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And you alone in the voting booth with your conscience will leave them a legacy.
Also been used so much in pop culture, The Office.
You who are on the road.
Glee, on the Glee finale, actually.
The one they picks, the one you'll know about.
To think that I've been a part of this era of music for the last almost 50 years, it's quite stunning, really. Yeah. I mean, I live my life by the second, of course, right? I think I'm doing good work, but you never know, you know. I'm an incredibly lucky man. I've been able to do what I wanted to do since I was 18 years old. That's insane. Yeah. You know, I don't take it lightly either. It's a great responsibility to be alive.
And oh, they love you.
Love that song. Such a heartfelt call for parents and children to try and understand that each generation goes through its own kind of hell, growing pains, trials, and that each should respect each other, learn from one another. I mean, this is most vital in the chorus where it gives the perspective from teach your children well in the first chorus and then changes it to teach your parents well and then says to both, I love this part, feed them on your dreams, the ones they pick, the ones you'll know by, then ending with don't ever ask them why. If they told you, you would cry, so just look at them and sigh and know they love you. As I said before, my dad's favorite band ever is Crosby, Stills and Nash. And as I interviewed each one of them, I had him sign my dad's album, and then I gave it to him as a gift to thank him for introducing me to all this great music. Teach Your Children was always his favorite song by CSN. And like I said, he shared his passion for that song with me when I was a kid. And the song really connected us, but it took me so many years to fully grasp the song's message. In the earlier part of the episode, you saw me interviewing my dad. About 5 years ago, our production crew went up to the small town that I grew up in Idaho, and we captured all that footage. And we had to cancel the trip a lot of times because of scheduling conflicts and other obstacles that would come up, but we were finally able to pull it off, and I'm so grateful that we did that, because what we capture with my father, I will treasure for the rest of my life. You see, since that time, my dad passed away. He had a massive stroke, and a few hours before we pulled him off his respirator to let him pass, I was able to spend some time with him and say goodbye. Now, he couldn't speak because he was completely paralyzed, but he could communicate with his eyes. And when I asked him if he wanted to play some music, his eyes started blinking really excitedly, telling me yeah. So I played him many of the songs that we enjoyed when I was growing up. And the last song that I played him was Teach Your Children. It's a song that brings back so many memories of us together. And so there I was beside his hospital bed. He had headphones on, and we could both hear the music and listening to every lyric with this special pride. And that's when the meaning of the song finally hit me. And looking at my dad, his tears ran down both our cheeks. Well, the song played. It was clear in Graham's lyric, and know they love you. My dad knew that I loved him, and I knew that he loved me. No words, just the music. That's the lasting image of my dad. This peaceful silence, unspoken love, and just the music. I truly believe songs save us. In times of happiness, in times of sorrow, songs save us. What song has saved you? Please share your story.